April, and we have an AI day called Intelligent Thinking coming up on July 18th. And we have our Summit of Things in October. So we are on the phones and talking to speakers and sponsors. So if anyone's interested, please reach out to us and be sure to register. There are free passes available for all three events right now at iotmktg.com. Now back to the program. And today's topic again is elevating your mindset. So what exactly does this mean? Well, I found several meanings as I did my research online. Elevating your mind means building a healthy mindset. A healthy mindset can help you be successful in any aspect of your life. Elevating your mindset is all about being conscious of the current situation, living in the moment, as I would say. What do you feel the phrase elevating your mindset means, Dr. Joe?
Oh wow, that's an excellent question. I couldn't agree with you more of what you said, Tiffany. Elevating your mindset is so important for achieving success in my estimation. Whether you're doing it in your career, you're talking about your relationship, your health goals, or any aspect of life for that matter. I think that by consciously building a healthy, positive mindset we are more likely to approach challenges with optimism and tend to view setbacks as opportunities for growth. You know, I'm reminded of a great historical example of somebody that I think elevated his mindset, Tiffany, and that's Nelson Mandela. Uh, you know, Despite being imprisoned for 27 years or something, he emerged with a mindset of forgiveness and unity. As the first black president of South Africa, he could have sought revenge against the apartheid regime that had been in power earlier. But instead, he chose reconciliation, right? Elevating the national mindset, if you will, to envision a nation of many colors. And I believe his mental resilience in choosing reconciliation over revenge remains an inspiration to so many people nearly 30 years later. Um, you know what? I think it's a pretty decent sign of an elevated mindset right there, right? When you choose reconciliation over revenge, well, you will most surely demonstrate resilience. Um, Speaking of which, there was a huge study at Stanford University about elevated mindset in the early 2000s. It was conducted by psychologist Carol Dweck and published in 2007. It involved something like 400 and some thousand students that were transitioning into seventh grade across all of New York City's public schools. The students were assessed on their own internal theories of intelligence. You know what I mean? Like whether they believed that intelligence was fixed or if it was something that could be developed. All right, the students who believed in the growth mindset, right, who believed that their intelligence could be developed academically, all right, these people outperformed their peers, the ones that believe that the mindset is fixed and couldn't be improved upon. They outperformed them on all these statewide performance tests by nearly 40 percentile points. Okay, and this wasn't even a one-time fluke. All right, additional tracking that was done after the initial research showed that this advantage persisted over time. Okay, this landmark study demonstrated the real world impact that our mindsets have on both achievement and agility at the same time. Okay, with practice, I I suppose that we can all cultivate a growth mindset, to continually expand our potential. All right, Dweck's research reminds us of the incredible power of our beliefs to shape outcomes. You might call it a truly elevating concept, if you'll pardon the pun there. What's your take, Tiffany?
Well, I love what you said, Dr. Joe, about believing. And so I always have a mantra that I repeat regularly, that's believe, achieve, receive. And so
Yes.
that's something that I firmly do believe in. And I think that the more that you manifest greatness, just the thought of manifesting, that's already elevating your mindset. It's already lifting you up to a higher plateau than where you were before you started manifesting whatever it is in your mind that you want. When you want something, then that's already starting to elevate your mindset. You're putting it out there that it's going to happen. And when you start believing it's going to happen, then that's really where the power lies. And I also like what you said about the an elevated mindset being a positive mindset. And when I think of an elevated mindset, I think of a mindset that's positive, happy, excited, success driven, and as you also mentioned, healthy. And sometimes we all go through difficult times, and it's easy to get stuck in a rut, if you will. And when we face these difficult challenges, they maybe have us vibrating at a lower level where you just don't feel as pumped up as you do when you're at an elevated mindset. Because when you're excited, that's when you're at this elevated mindset. That's when you're ready to go conquer the world. And it's important to have something that you're passionate about to go after, because that's also going to lead to you having success in all kinds of different ways, because you have something elevating you already because it's something to work for. I mentioned I'm a new mom, so I'm passionate about the baby. So I always want to make sure the baby's happy. So that's an instant elevation right there. All I have to do is look at his cute little smile and boom,
Yeah.
my mindset is elevated. But during those times when we are going through something difficult, going to see a family member, talking to a friend, even if it's via phone, it makes us feel a lot better. I know for me, like I'm having a rough day, I just want a hug. Sometimes a hug will help raise your vibration. But, before we dive into the how, let's talk more about the benefits of elevating your mindset. And some that I can think of right off the bat would be, you're more optimistic, you're less stressed, you can handle situations better, as you mentioned, you're happier, you're healthier. What are your thoughts on the benefits of elevating your mindset, Dr. Joe?
Yeah. Well, that's great, Tiffany. Wow. Those are excellent benefits that you mentioned, Tiffany. As usual, you hit the nail on the head, in my opinion. um, you know, uh, there are a couple of more benefits that I can think of besides the ones that you've mentioned that are great. One is greater creativity. Okay. Um, I think an elevated mindset allows us to think outside the box and perhaps see situations from a new angle. We're not constrained by any preconceived notions or rigid thinking we already have. Studies have shown that positive moods stimulate creative problem solving and idea generation. Um, Another one that I thought of, greater resilience. Okay, we talked about that a minute ago. Yeah, I hinted around about that. When we talked about Nelson Mandela a few minutes ago. Um, you see, with an elevated mindset that's focused on growth, we can see failures and setbacks not as challenges perhaps or adversity or something that's going to define us or to be something to be defeated by, right? We're going to see those as opportunities to learn something and do better the next time around. This is going to build our capacity to bounce back from adversity. Champion Serena Williams, she serves as a prime example of resilience here. She had some really tough losses pretty early in her career. She trained her mindset, it's reported, to reflect on whatever she could improve rather than beating herself up for where she had failed. That's a sure sign of an elevated mindset. Okay. Now, she may or may not have used those specific terms that we're using, but I do believe she had exemplified it. And it has exemplified her to grow into one of the most dominant women's tennis players ever. Um, in fact, research shows that people with an optimistic mindset and an optimistic lifestyle, they're going to experience better health outcomes. There was this women's health initiative study of, I think it was more than, I don't know, 200,000 women or something, aged 50 to 79, I believe it was. And that study found that the most optimistic quarter of them had a lower risk of dying, of all things, than those who were not so optimistic. Okay. Um, it was something like 38% lower risk of dying from stroke, 39% of dying from cardiovascular disease, 27% of dying from cancer, and something like 16% lower risk of dying from any cause. And again, like the other study from New York, this wasn't just a one-time thing, one-time study. This was observed over something like an 8-year period of time. It was a long-term study. Anyway, I think this emphasizes just how important it is to cultivate a positive mindset. And guess what? As you so eloquently said, a positive mindset is an elevated mindset. So, Tiffany, if you think about it, our our outlook on life may do more than just change the way we feel. Yeah, it could even help extend our lives, for that matter. How do you see it, Tiffany?
Well, Dr. Joe, I just love that you mentioned resilience and you really bring that message through because an elevated mindset can also lead to better adaptability and agility. And
Yeah.
being resilient, agile, and adaptable are three things that I found really helped me tremendously get through the pandemic because without it,
Yeah.
a lot of people went through some really tough times, but I felt like right before it started, the fact that I kind of had a glimpse of what was coming and just had an idea to what to prepare for and was I was able to stay in this elevated mindset. I was able to help my friends and family. I don't know if you know this, Dr. Joe, but I created a short comedy skit called Quarantine Feud. And I had called and I had asked all my friends and family to tell me all the answers to various questions, the things you would do during quarantine, the various things. And they would give me answers. They're like, "How long do you think this is going to last?" I was like, probably a while, and I mean, it's the effects are ongoing. But the fact that I was able to stay in this elevated mindset and just to make light of it, to bring everyone else up to a positive, kind of help them prepare for it. And not everyone was prepared for it. A lot of people
Yeah.
are still struggling to come back to a mindset that they were at pre-pandemic. But you can. So we're going to tell you a few things about how you can do that next. And I mean, our world is still in an ongoing state of chaos, in my opinion. And as things continue to play out, an elevated mindset will help us to avoid stress and make the most of each and every single day. So, the tricky part, how do you elevate your mindset? Well, here are some examples. So, you could exercise, there's meditation, you can distract yourself by things like cleaning, plan an activity, travel. Dr. Joe, I know you're excited about your trip to Prague. So, that keeps you at an elevated mindset, right? So, plan a
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah.
That way, you always have something to look forward to. There's mantras you could, repeat, believe, achieve, receive, or any kind of mantra that you feel will give you the power to have that elevated mindset. You could also compliment someone. When you compliment someone, you're giving off a good vibration that's received and bounced back. So you're elevating your mindset and your vibration. There's music. Music is an easy one for me. If I'm in a down in
Mm.
the dumps kind of mood that day for whatever reason, I just put on a really positive soundtrack music, whatever kind of music I want to put on that's really going to just raise the vibration. That always helps right away. You could also visit a friend or family member, as I mentioned, give them a phone call, a hug. That's always very effective. But there are so many ways to elevate your mindset, Dr. Joe. So, what do you
Mhm.
recommend?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, those are some excellent ways. Um, let's see. Besides these excellent methods that you've already described and laid out, um, research shows that expressing gratitude can indeed boost your mood and outlook. Okay. Um, I'm convinced that when we intentionally focus on what we're thankful for instead of what's going wrong, okay, we unlock a cascade of positive benefits. I suppose it's somewhat like opening a window, if you will. to let in fresh air and sunlight into your life. Okay. To that point, research conducted by this guy named Dr. Robert Evans and his colleague, I don't remember his name, Culvert or something like that. Anyways, at the University of California, it shows that regularly expressing gratitude leads to greater happiness, improved mental health, and enhanced overall well-being. Okay, in their study, um, participants wrote about things that they were grateful for. They did that every week. And after 10 weeks in doing this every single week, those who were focusing on gratitude reported feeling more optimistic and better about their lives. Surprisingly, they somehow they also exercised more and had fewer visits to the doctor's office compared to those who focused on irritations in their lives, or even neutral events that neither positive nor negative. Now, while that wasn't really a scientific, that may I don't know may or may not have been so much of a scientific study, but still. Um, here's a quote that I'm thinking of here. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. Okay. I have no idea whoever said that, but I've heard it. It really, really resonates with me, embodies this. Okay. Because practicing gratitude, it shifts our perspective to appreciate what we have rather than focusing on what we lack. According to legend, okay, the Roman philosopher Cicero cultivated gratitude by supposedly writing down five good things that happened to him every day in his journal. Okay, even while exiled in 58 BC, which is where this legend comes from, he found small joys like the sun came out after days of rain, that kind of thing. Now, to be honest, I really don't know how true the legend is. Okay, but other than that writing, there is another quote that really is attributed to Cicero, in which he said, um, "Well, I forget. In all likelihood, this might have been his attitude." Okay. Anyway, as far as the quote is concerned, this is what he said, if I can remember. Gratitude, gratitude is not only the greatest of all virtue, but the parent of all the others. Yeah, I love it. One more. Laughing more. One more. Laughing more can also lift your mindset. Another one. A study by Loma Linda University found that while watching comedy, okay, watching comedy shows reduced stress hormones by 39% in the participants and increased mood boosting hormones by 27%. As Scottish author Ian McLaren once wrote, "Be kind, laddie. Everyone you meet is carrying a heavy burden." I don't know if I sound too Scottish or not, but here's the point. Spreading humor and joy helps elevate not only our own mindset, but that of others around us. So, yeah, Tiffany, laughter really is the best medicine. Okay. That saying goes way beyond being just a catchy phrase or a monthly feature in Reader's Digest, right? I believe that it's a profound truth that has the ability to brighten your day and bring about positive change. By by embracing laughter wholeheartedly, you can elevate your own mindset and again make a positive impact on those around you. I can't stress that enough. All right, it's a pretty simple yet invaluable tool. Yeah, but it can fill your life with joy, lightheartedness, and maybe even the strength to overcome any challenge that comes your way. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, Tiffany.
Well, thanks, Dr. Joe. I really liked your Scottish accent there. It almost sounded a little Irish, which is just
Yeah, that's my
fine.
problem. I get Irish and Scottish mixed up sometimes, and I think I'm going to start an international war if I don't get those two straight. Sorry about that, folks.
Good thing they're peaceful countries.
Yes.
And with St. Patrick's Day right around the corner, I think it was perfect timing for that. And I loved what you were saying about gratitude. I think gratitude is the best attitude. I've been saying that for so long.
Yes.
And the more that you're grateful for the things that you have, I mean, Me myself, I pray at every meal, and that's just one of my times when I take a second to just really thank you for this meal. I mean, thank God I have something to
Yeah.
eat. Thank God for everything in my life. And no matter what your religion is, I mean, religion is another way to elevate your mindset. Going to church, going to your place of worship, and letting others with similar faith really elevate your mindset is also another great way to elevate your mindset. And of course, I'm a huge fan of laughing. I think that's why we get along so well, Dr. Joe. In
Yeah.
fact, a good friend of mine, Paul, that it was the one that convinced me to move out to Las Vegas. We would laugh so much that we would say, "Have you had your laughs today? Oh yes, let's go and do our laughs," because we would just laugh constantly here together. So I mean, not only is it great exercise, but it's also incredible for what it does for your soul and your mind. So I love your feedback, Dr. Joe. Thank you for all that, and I couldn't agree more that just make whatever you're doing fun. Having fun is going to elevate your mindset, and not just temporarily. The more fun you have, the more fun your life will be. So just have fun with things. Try not to take everything so seriously, because sometimes I get sucked into the news too, or I watch too many podcasts and I'm like, oh my gosh, and it really makes you start questioning things in the universe. You got to shake it off sometimes and have some fun, because if you don't, you won't have an elevated mindset. It's going to drain you. So be careful what you watch. It does influence and impact you, whether that's a certain kind of music, a certain whatever you're watching on TV, radio, whatever is communicating with you. So, we've covered so much today and so many great strategies for elevating your mindset, from practicing gratitude to cultivating optimism to exercising resilience. Bringing things full circle, I'd love to ask the audience, what's one small thing that you can change starting today to begin to elevate your mindset? And it doesn't have to be anything big or overwhelming to start. Maybe it's taking 5 minutes, as Dr. Joe mentioned, in the morning to write down some things that you're grateful for. Or maybe it's maybe it's making a commitment to spend less time on social media or watching the news. I'm guilty of the news. I try to stay off social media, but the news I'm definitely guilty of. uh, and stop comparing yourself to others. Or maybe it's simply reminding yourself daily that you have the ability to learn and grow. As for me, one small change that I suggest that you can make, that I make every day, is smiling. Smile as often as possible, as much as possible, whether it's in the mirror or while alone or with others. Personally, I smile while I brush my teeth and get ready, because it just puts me in a good mood. If I'm smiling at myself, it's hard to argue with someone that is in a good mood. So if you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're smiling at yourself, you're going to be in a good mood, or a better mood at least. And
Yeah.
I was at a Tony Robbins event a few years ago, and
Mm.
he had us all participate in this exercise where he put us in different situations. Imagine that you're the maddest that you've ever been, and just feel. And then he's like, okay, for 5 minutes, just so you're for it wasn't that long, maybe 15 seconds, just be mad. And then you could tell what your face was like, and like how your mind changed, and just all of these different things, how your posture changes. And if you're sad and and then, but if you're happy, and if you're happy, there are certain muscles even in your face that you can feel working. I know I was looking at a lot of news a week or so ago, and just really like digging around on the internet, and I was like, my face started to get saggy. I was like, oh my gosh, I can feel it changing. So smile, 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 and smile some more. Because smiling for me immediately makes me feel better, happier, and healthier. It's contagious. So when you smile at someone else, you're passing it forward, and it makes it so much easier to deal with life no matter what it hands you. So, how about you, Dr. Joe? What's one small change that you can make starting today to begin elevating your mindset?
Great question, Tiffany. I love what you said about the smile, by the way. I had a buddy in college, and I wish I could remember the quote. It's been so long ago. Yeah, I got this thing about quotes, and yeah, I can remember that, but I can't remember what my friend said. But something like he said, "Well, Joe, you just need to smile." He was from Alabama, and you think my Scottish accent is good? You ought to hear my Alabama accent. He says, "Well, Joe, you know what? It takes 142 muscles to frown, but it only takes 17 to smile. So smile and give your face a rest, okay?" So yeah, so smiling, that's good. That's good. All right. Um, Tiffany, one small change. Um, I really, after loving your insight, I got to think of one of my own. Okay, to your point, to your point, um, one small, very small, but powerful change that we can make today is to become more mindful of our self-talk and inner narrative. You know, you hinted around at that, at smiling at yourself when you're brushing your teeth or whatever, right? Maya Angelou once said, I can remember it's something like, if you don't like it, change it. If you can't change it, then change your attitude about it. All right, something like that. You know, so often we undermine ourselves. We shoot ourselves in our own foot with a constant stream of negative inner criticism. You know, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough. But you know what? As you hinted around at, we in right here, we have power to take control of that narrative. All right, just take notice of when that fixed mindset inner voice creeps up, and consciously shift your self-talk to uplifting, growth-oriented phrases, those mantras you were talking about earlier, Tiffany, I can do this. I can learn from it. I'm excited to improve. Okay. Do not underestimate the impact of taking charge of the story, the narrative, and tell yourself, you know, as Maya Angelou advised, okay, it can truly elevate your mindset like we've been talking about, and well, change what you believe is even possible. Back to you, Tiffany.
Oh, Dr. Joe, I couldn't agree more about this voice in my head, because I didn't mention this because it's something that's been stressing me out a tad bit. But I'm moving and I've lived in this house for 10 years and I have so
Wow.
much to pack and go through that I get faced with this voice in my head that's like, well, how are you going to get this done? There's no way that you can pack all these things. How are you can't do this. And I'm like, just keep packing, just keep packing. I feel like I'm in the Finding Dory movie. I'm like, just
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
packing, just keep packing, and so
I
you
love it.
sometimes just have to. And then I look in the mirror, I'm like, smile, okay, just keep packing. So you just have to push yourself through. So uh, you know, we'll get through any challenge that we come across. So you just have to be willing to put yourself in an elevated mindset so that you can deal with the challenges that come your way. So I hope everyone watching found something super valuable from our conversation today. And Mind to Mind will be back again soon with another episode. So please stay tuned for more from myself and the incredible, amazing, fantastic Dr. Joe Perez. And we will be talking to you soon. Don't forget, everyone, to sign up for the Green Things Summit, and as well as the AI Day. If you're curious about AI, it's scary to some, it's scary to me sometimes, but it's coming. So we got to prepare. You can find out what you need to, and as well as the Summit of Things, we'll tell you all about what's going on with these advanced technologies, and we'll be protecting the earth on Green Things Summit. So sign up for all of those right now. Get your free pass at iotmktg.com. And thank you so much today for joining me, Dr. Joe. As always, it's
Yes,
a real
ma'am.
pleasure.
Pleasure and honor is mine, Tiffany.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have an elevated day, and we'll be talking to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.